we might see tomorrow during the race.
Yeah, this actually worked out perfectly. All these drivers wanted to find a pack, and NASCAR helped them out by throwing this red flag and giving them a pack.
That could have been what the red flag was for.
Yeah, and I think the red flag was actually someone needed a push off the racetrack. It might have even been in the 99 of David Starr. So if we find out, we'll keep you updated on that. But you see them sort of dawdling out on the racetrack. This is all on purpose to get that pack filled up right now and to keep everyone all together. I wonder how many cars we got in this pack. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It just keeps going. 13.
Yeah.
13 car pack right here heading out on the speedway with 17 minutes left in practice. This will give us a great indicator.
Yeah, let's see how many we have after we run a few laps. How close can they stay and how much can they gain?
We've got a guest up here in the app booth right now. Jeff Burton has joined us right now to awake and asleep Rutledge Wood behind us. We can't show this right now, but it would be worth it. Check out our social media.
He was up early this morning.
That was a rough day for him.
Yeah, it's been a long day already. Yes.
And just to confirm, it was the 99 of David Starr who needed to push off the racetrack. That's why we had the red flag. But, Jeff, I got a question. I'm going to bring you in on here. He doesn't. He's trying to look away from us. What have you seen out here? What do you think you're seeing right now? These guys are trying to make these passes.
Well, it's interesting to me because to make this work, it's all about corner speed, right? Like if the guy in second can't be going a whole lot slower through the corner than the guy in first, or he'll never be able to drive back up. So it'll be interesting to see as more cars get on the racetrack what effect that has. But at least it's promising, you know, and definitely the cars a little bit closer together than we've seen. A bottle of water.
All I know is the last time that we tried a restrictor plate deal was at New Hampshire a lot of years ago, and there's one guy sitting beside you, Parker, that led every single lap there.
They were mentioning that on Sirius XM NASCAR radio earlier today about that last restrictor plate race. We had this guy sitting beside us go in there. I'm curious right now, what are we going to see out of this 00 car of Cole Custer? I want to see what kind of speed. He's in the draft here, right in between, in the middle of all these cars. And if he gets a run with that 21 car, Spencer Gallagher behind him, on the, I think that's the 96 from Ben Kenny, and the 16, what kind of speeds are we going to see? It's 158 off the corner, and how much higher are we going to get down the straightaway? That's what I'm curious to see, especially if these two get side by side, if he gets a big run.
Well, you're going to have to get a good push, is the thing. See, he felt like that he got a nice enough push there. But this is where the situation's going to get a little
tight
bit.
right there.
Yeah, it does. You know, if you're trying to make that move really, really late, then you're committed to that, and the driver in front has no idea that you're there. The spotters, you know, they have a hard time seeing all of that, and then, you know, you're trying to pay attention to what's going on out in front, and so that could create some issues tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, basically 150 to 171 difference right now. 172 into turn one right now. And you mentioned the spotters, so I have a funny story about spotting here. I actually, a couple years back, when about 07, 08, I actually was tabbed to spot for an Indy Lights race. And I was given the turn 3 area, which is like the less important one. A lot of spotters here in NASCAR will use the pagoda, or they'll put a spotter in turn 1 and turn 3, kind of like IndyCar. And the guy I was spotting for basically we did one lap. I gave him clear down the backstretch, unable to see anything that was happening. Told me he was on his own as they came at us, just like you saw there down the backstretch. That's the vantage point that the spotter has. And I've never been so terrified in my life and felt like I had someone's life in my hands. Yeah. But he went off into turn 1 and actually, unfortunately, wrecked. And I felt some relief not being that spotter anymore up there, because it was the most terrifying 2 laps of my entire life. You saw some of the spotters up there on the pagoda, and that's, you know, look at what they're seeing here. This place is huge. It's 2.5 miles, and you've got these cars snaking about and diving down the corners. This is a tough place for the spotter to give you the accurate info you want.
Yeah, and they're probably just using one spotter here in practice, but tomorrow a lot will be utilizing 2 spotters, one over on the back straightaway, because trying to spot from the pagoda, you do have trees over on the golf course. Yes, I said golf course, because there's a few holes on the inside.
This racetrack is big enough to have a golf course in it?
Well, I think every track should have a golf course, personally, but that's just me. But we're seeing a lot of racing here, so this is a little encouraging about what we're going to see and the possibilities we could see tomorrow.
There's your favorite part of this racetrack right now.
Hey, we're getting over that. Yeah, there's a couple of good holes in here, too.
How many times have you played that course? Have you played
quite a few, yeah.
You're a scratch golfer, so.
No, I'm not, but that was,
He's modest.
With the way my golf game is right now, I'd be concerned that I might hit one out.
Steve Letarte just walked in here and said, you're the best in here.
No,
so,
no, I can't be
PGA level. This is awesome, right? We're seeing a lot of passing. And you know what? One thing I want to bring up here is you see some of these cars we don't normally see maybe up that would be running up the top 15 or around some of these cars like Colt Custer or the 2 of Paul Menard. Those cars are front runners, but we're seeing some that aren't exactly always up front. And I got to speak to Jeremy Clements, that's the 4 of Ross Chastain right now in the middle of this draft, and I was asking about that. As a smaller team that's coming here with this change of package, what is your perspective on this? Woody, is this help, hurt? And he said, it obviously hurts us in single car speed because we're not. The 48 there, Brendan Poole made a late move down on the. I didn't exactly see who that was that he was passing, but basically what he told me was in single cars. Qualifying that they're going to have in speed, they're definitely further off than they would be in normal place.
Sure.
But the draft, maybe there's that element of hope that, okay, this could help us. This could be something we need. But he mentioned something that was really big, and I think it's a broader topic, is that, a lot of fans say, okay, we're doing all this effort to try and make better racing here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Why don't we just go back to ORP? Why don't we just go back to the short track, right?
Yeah.
And he had one of the best responses to that, and he said, Parker, for the last couple of years when we were going to RP, that was the lowest paying purse in the Xfinity Series. And now, when they come here to Indy, this is the second highest paying purse in the series. And so for a team like his that does a lot off the purse money, that runs off the purse money, and small sponsorship, this is a big deal to be here. It's a totally different level. And so for NASCAR, for the teams, they want to be here. It's better for the series. It's better for the sponsors, everyone to be here at the big speedway. And for what I'm seeing right now, we may be in for a show.
We could be. I mean, I was critical of this when I first heard that they were going to put plates on these Xfinity cars here. Now, I didn't know at the time about the aero package and everything that went along with it, which makes a lot more sense than trying to do all of those things together. And we may probably will end up with the same winners or someone that same guys running up front. But I think the possibilities that we're seeing here as we get out here are going to bring more people into the mix. And, you get a late race caution that could mix things up a lot. You never know what may happen.
All right, we're going to get a great show right now. You got the 9 of William Byron tucked up on the back of the 18 car, all at the back of this huge pack. Kyle Busch, the guy who's dominated here before in the Xfinity Series. Let's see how he is able to make passes through the field right now.
And I like William Byron's thinking. He's never been here, so why not get behind the guy that's won the last 2? Well, he's won the last 4 races basically here because he's swept both weekends the last 2 years.
I get asked all the time, why do drivers not do that more often? Because normally this wouldn't help you, but right now with this package, this has got to be he's going to see things and be like, okay, that's what I need to do. That's what the car needs to do, because as Kyle goes out here and makes that car work into being probably a winning car or a car that's going to contend for victory, he's going to see that right in front of him.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you 100%.
Okay,
this is the way that it should be.
Disagree.
But I think at other racetracks it would be beneficial for people to get out and run and practice against other people to see if someone's better than me. I want to see where I'm getting beat, what I need to work on. I don't need to wait till race day to figure that out, because then I can't make the changes to my race car. I have not figured this out in years as to why nobody goes out and runs around another race car during practice.
Well, I'm going to defend some of the drivers, younger drivers maybe are coming up that don't do it. One, because aero is so important. We're all trying, the thought process sometimes you'll get is, well, we don't set up our car to run fifth. We're trying to set up the lip. We're trying to set up the lead, right? So you want clean air because you want a consistent run every time you're in that car to be able to go out there and evaluate what it's doing. But there's definitely a time, I agree with you at the end of it, and I may wish I did that more often, because I definitely see things now, and I'm running with Kyle in the truck series that I say, wow, okay, I need to be able to do that, or wow, I need my truck to do that, because if he's doing that, then I know that's the truck to beat, right? Yeah. And I need to be doing that. But I would say, yes, there's times at the end of a practice maybe that would make more sense. That when you're really at the point you're not going to make changes to the car, go out there and learn. A lot of these teams, they don't want to run the car. It's the thought process is a professional race car driver, you should be up to speed in 2 or 3 laps, and you should be able to know exactly what the car wants in 5 laps. And by the end of a 40-minute practice, you better be right, because that's what the Cup guys are. And that's the thought process. But it could aid them to go out there and just run and see what these guys are doing. Also, he is not driving through the pack as fast as I thought he would. but he's definitely making moves through there right now.
Well, you're not going to be able to do this on your own still. Because the cars you've got cars running the same speed. If everybody's sitting there running close to wide open, you can see Elliott Sadler get a really good run right there. And that's what you're going to have to do. That's where you're going to make your time. And that's something to me that has always been the way that you make passes and the way that you get around this racetrack. Anybody, you can drive it as hard as you want down the end of the corner, but if you're not going to get back to the throttle and get off, you're never going to pass anybody. So it doesn't matter if you're short track racing or racing on a road course, the same things apply. You have to figure out a way to make passes, and that's not getting down into the corner faster than someone else because you're all running the same speed down there at the end.
And that was really interesting because he was able to get beside Matt Tiff, side draft him, get away from him to break that side draft, and then was able to make the pass, and now is driven away from the 19 car Matt Tiff with Brendan Gaughan. So I think this is what we've seen in this practice is, you might get a clump of cars like you see back there, and then two cars can kind of hook up with the right momentum, and they're going to get away. But then I'm curious if that pack sort of reels them back in like we see at a super speedway. I'm curious if that pack back there, led by Ben Kennedy, Kyle Busch, is going to be able to reel these two back in if they stay out there.
They're going to have to be
especially
really
if they get
patient.
side by side.
And you see right there what Elliott Sadler's trying to do now. There again, you're taking a real chance there. But if you can make that move, then the guy that you're making that move on has no option, unless he wants to wreck himself, basically. So that's going to be a good way to make some passes. But it's taking a chance too.
That's where you're making that statement as a race car driver, where you put a guy in a position where you think, all right, bud, your move. You want to wreck or you want to get out of my way?
That's right.
And the guy in that 18 car does that a lot to me in the Truck Series. So
he does to a lot of people. Not just you.
He gets away with it because he's good. But as he makes a pass there, and Ben Kennedy, and we're going to see William Byron's going to come with him, so we might see a little bit of that too. And we saw that here forever. I think we've seen that for a long time. If you get shoved that outside groove, there isn't the grip, there isn't the ability to stay out there.
No, and that's what's going to always make this such a difficult challenge at this racetrack, because of the less banking that you have. The most banking at this racetrack is up against the wall, where you never are in the corner or never want to be anyway. And so that's going to always be a challenge. You have narrow tires as far as cars go. You have heavy stock cars. So that's always going to be the challenge that's going to be presented, regardless of what package you put here. But if we get these cars running closer together, we're going to see side drafting like we've never seen here before. So that's going to make potential for 2 and 3 wide racing at times as we go down the front and back straight.
And William Byron has hung on to the back of Kyle Busch there, followed him all the way through, just like he told him to, so he was listening. That's good. Nice of him.
Well, that's who I always was going to pick out. If it was Dale Earnhardt or whoever it was that, Jeff Gordon, if they were the fastest, that's who I wanted to go out and measure myself in practice. Because if I didn't know in practice what I needed to do, then it was hard to make changes to say this is where we're getting beat and this is how we have to improve our race car to be competitive.
Just over 5.5 minutes left here in final practice for the NASCAR Xfinity Series from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You see Kyle Busch on the back of Brendan Gaughan. And one thing, in William Byron there, we've got the telemetry up, going to show us the speed. Let's see what kind of draft he gets on the 18 and the 62, especially if they get side by side. Brendan just lets him go there. He let him get out of the way.
He didn't have much choice in the matter because Kyle did such a good job. You could see him sneak the left front out just a little bit, and he was able to hook that corner and stay in the gas, and then it made it look relatively simple, like Brendan got out of the gas, which he probably had to once he kind of shoved him there.
Let's see I'd be very interested if he can make a pass on Kyle. If he's stuck with him, it feels like he has a good enough car to get up there and at least get beside him.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the
other is he trying to draft forward
trick to this thing. Okay, here you want to learn, see how much your car will pull up. But if you're capable of making that pass on Kyle Busch, I would not do it right now.
That's a good point.
Because you're only going to make
You're just stroking your ego at that point.
You're doing that, and he's going to go back and say, okay, here's where I've got to make my car better.
Exactly. Don't let him know that he needs it to be better, because that's definitely the car to be reckoned with. And one thing some of the drivers were talking about was, and for the fans out there might be wondering, okay, can you bump draft? Well, what they found is it's tougher than it looks, because you get to a point where you get about 6 feet, 4 feet from the car in front of you, and then you're pushing them with all the air.
Yeah.
So I think, wow, these two are really close. Oh, he didn't listen this time. He's going to make that pass. So that's the draft pass right there. He let him know what he's better at. Uh-oh.
Maybe. And that could have been Kyle Busch saying, okay,
go ahead, bud.
Go ahead. I want to see what
I've learned what I need to do. Yeah. Definitely.
But if it was, he's so talented and he learns very quickly. And I think that the one thing that we have seen is, their cars seem to be, this was has made the cars closer as far as against the Gibbs cars. That I think this was a matter that Kyle Busch wanted to see. Can I pass a fast race car here by myself? Nobody else around. So I think, yeah, William probably made a good run there, but I really believe this was Kyle saying, okay, I got to see how my car handles back here, and can I get enough of a run to pass a really fast car?
No, that's a great point. That's definitely something you do in this sort of practice, you know, and you do that in super speedways. You'll get behind the car. You go to the back of a pack to see what your car does. Right now, we got William Byron, who's 5th on the board, and then Kyle Busch is 3rd. That hasn't changed. Justin Allgaier still leads practice here, final practice at the Xfinity, at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. But back to that bump drafting deal. So I want to just talk about real quick where it's tough because you can't. You think you're going to have that momentum to suck up and just nail the guy, but it doesn't happen. And so I asked a couple drivers. I said, okay, so at super speedways sometimes we use the brake. We even back up a little bit. Is that a possibility? And I asked Joe Logano. He looked at me and said, yeah, I think it could be. Like, if you get the right guy and he understands what you're trying to do, you know, and you pop out and you two want to hook up, he's like, it's such, because we're only going 160, 170 miles an hour, the straightaway is such a long period of time. He's like, I'll definitely be interested to see if we can do that.
Yeah, and I think even maybe not using the brake, but
just
I'm sure
lift a
they'll
little
think
bit.
That's right.
Yes.
On the exit of the corner, if you can get that car before you get on the straightaway, if you can get that car on your bumper and then have that whole straightaway, the two of you can probably make more speed like that. So there's a lot of options I'm sure they're going to be exploring.
Just over 2 minutes to go. Justin Allgaier still leads here, and we watch him go around the track. Not sure if he's even in a pack, just sort of alone. Tail end of a pack right now. Only doing 158. So he's trying to catch that 42 of Tyler Reddick right now. You see snaking around, and I guess that 7 car, they put up that fast lap, and no one's been able to catch him since.
So you can see just how close all the times are. It's like we are at restrictor plate, just catching that right part of it, and getting the draft at the right time. But qualifying is going to be extremely close because everybody's going to run around here wide open.
So I'm guessing the 7. I'm looking at the time scoring here. I'm guessing the 7 is on a long run because he leads the best 5-lap average right now. He leads the 10-lap average. And he's one of 4 cars that has a 15-lap average, apparently, right now. So him, the 3 car of Ty Dillon, the 18 of Kyle Busch, and the 9 of William Byron, all doing the long run. Maybe seeing if there's some tire wear, seeing where these cars go, if you start to having to lift more and more, if the tires get heated up. And that's interesting to me to see if they're going to do that kind of run. Yeah,
with the segments not being very long tomorrow, is it going to open up a situation that 2 tires might be a possibility? Haven't really seen that in a number of years that's become beneficial because handling is such a big issue here. And it will be an issue somewhat, but I think that track position is going to be of utmost importance.
Yeah, he did his fastest lap on his 3rd lap, so definitely had the speed right off the bat, most likely in a tow. But just to look at let's see what lap time he brings across here. His fastest lap was a 54.059, and this lap is a 55.7. So more than a second and a half fall off in over 15 laps, 23 laps he's run so far.
He really doesn't have any help, so trying to do it on your own. Before they were probably in a draft. So that just shows you there is going to be a huge speed difference as far as, his fast lap's 166, average 161 on his last one. So the draft is going to play a big effect.
For sure. I keep thinking as I watch this right now, we've got 7 seconds. We're coming down to the end of final practice. These cars are clumped together. They're close.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. Yeah. I think that it's definitely going to be, again, will it be, how successful will all of this package be? We'll have to see when we get to the end of the